Good evening. Well, you now have your 2-minute. You now have your 2-minute warning. We got a bunch. Good. That's all right. Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to this regular meeting of the Oak Ridge City Council. In June, we have 2 regular meetings, and this is the first one of 2. So we are glad that everyone is here tonight as we honor one of our sports teams and high school sports teams and start work on the adoption of our budget. I'll lead the invocation tonight, and then our Pledge of Allegiance is going to be followed immediately by Richie Ferreira of the Oak Ridge High School baseball team. So if everyone would please stand. Dear God, we thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for our freedom and liberty and our ability to meet as a city in an open meeting. Lord, we ask for your continued guidance. Give us wisdom, patience, and discernment as we approach the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We certainly want to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to keep our freedom, and we ask for their blessings, your blessings on their families, their relatives that survived them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Mr. Ferreira, if you'll come forward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Here.
Councilmember Gleason.
Here.
Mayor Gooch.
Here.
Councilmember Hammond. Councilmember Hensley.
Here.
Councilmember Hope.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
And for the record, let me advise everyone that Councilman Hammond is out of town on family business, and he sends his best wishes, and he will be with us next Monday. So, Madam Clerk, first item of business. I can't imagine what it is.
Move to accept.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. And it is adopted unanimously. We are so proud of all of our students, and both past and present, and certainly this team needs to be recognized for their accomplishments. I think given the history of this city and our long-term investment, not only in our schools, but in the lives and success of our students, we need to take every opportunity we can to recognize them. So, Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the proclamation.
Whereas the 2023-2024 Oak Ridge High School baseball team is composed of 32 players, including seniors Caden Black, James Bowles, Brooks Earls, Alex Franklin, Israel Mitchell, Hayden Malcody, Lane Malcody, John Ulreich, and Kyron Welch. And whereas this season, the baseball team finished with a school record 28 wins and reached the state tournament for the first time in 52 years. And whereas the team reached the district championship for the first time in 22 years. And whereas the team achieved berths in the region and sub-state tournaments for the first time in 31 years. And whereas the team is returning 7 starters from down the stretch and returning 5 of 7 pitchers that logged innings in the postseason. And whereas the team is led by Coach Travis Free, who has been with Oak Ridge High School since 2018 and was named District 3 AAA Coach of the Year in 2021. And whereas the team demonstrated hard work, commitment, determination, and teamwork as they remained competitive against Nolensville High School and eliminated Bradley Central. And whereas the city of Oak Ridge is fortunate to have such outstanding athletes among its citizens, as well as such an outstanding coaching staff. And now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that June 3rd, 2024 be proclaimed Oak Ridge High School Baseball Team Day in the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and that all citizens be encouraged to join in congratulating these fine young athletes and their coaches for an impressive season.
And gentlemen, would you please stand and be recognized? And we are so glad you're here, and we're going to ask you to come up in the meeting, but in a moment, I just wanted everybody to see where you are. So Coach, if you would lead the members of the team up in front of the podium here, looking out at the television cameras and the audience. I'm going to ask Councilman Hensley and Councilman Gaddis. Councilman Gleason. Coach Gaddis is also here. We're going to ask him to come up. So, gentlemen, if you would come up, we will present you with the proclamation.
Don't fall on. Be careful on the cords. Sorry.
We're going to ask the other members of council to stand up, and Coach Free, if you'd like to say a word, and then we'll present the proclamation.
This will be in the newspaper for sure.
All right,
That's
come
going
on.
up from the newspaper.
Can we have the coaches, maybe coaches sit in front? It'll make more room, no?
She's trying to help.
There you go.
This mic hot?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, I'd like to say something. I coached baseball, boys club, Colfax, Mantle for 22 years. And my son, who played baseball at Oak Ridge High School, graduated in '97. He went on to play 4 years of college ball, but he told me one time when he was a senior in high school, he said, "Dad, I finally figured out what you've been saying all along." He said, "Baseball's not a game, it's an attitude." And it really is, because you can be successful 30% of the time and go to the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to you. We're very proud of you.
Councilman Gleason.
Yeah, real quick, gentlemen. My baseball players years away from hopefully being where you are. So I try to always think about the right words to say, always to them. I always talk about all the right things. But one thing that I want to share that I think is so cool about our community that we live in, and I don't think people understand until we got on the roll that we were on, but something really cool, like every generation, every decade since the 60s, the 70s, game one in the state tournament, 2 guys from the 1972 team were sitting in the stands. I come back into town, I stop at Weigel's, a guy played in 1987, stopped. Coach, we watched every game down the stretch. Coach, it's incredible to see what you're doing. From the 90s, 2000s, every generation has spoke to me over the last, 20 plus days or whatever it is. And it's just constant messages. But I don't think I think you sit back and reflect, we kind of forget the community we live in and how strong it is and how closely we really all are, right? As an outsider there, I've met so many new people just because of this game. And these guys, I told them when we got to the state tournament, I said, it's so cool to me that there's very few places in the state of Tennessee that I can lead, but also there are people over 5 decades watching you that played for the same school that you played for. And to me, that's what makes Oak Ridge so awesome. And I think everybody here, I had a vision. Yeah, I shared with them the vision. And yeah, I want this to continue to grow. We still have obstacles that we have to overcome that we're going to fight against. But we're going to sustain success for the next decade. I feel like that. And we've got people, Mayor Gooch helped us on the way to the state tournament. All the people are kind of rallying behind us now. It's kind of cool to see, but it's awesome for them. And really, it's about them and just celebrate them and celebrate what they did, because we've got a lot of good players that are going to be here for a long time, and you're going to get to watch them on TV someday. So it's fun. It's fun to be a part of it. And I'm excited that I get to be the leader of the program. But more importantly, I'm excited that I get to live inside of Oak Ridge. And I want this thing to be the best of the best. We played against Farragut, which is, everybody knows Farragut, how good their baseball team is, but their coaches resigned and they just had 16 players leave. So what better time than now for Oak Ridge to be the best baseball team around. So that's what I believe is going to happen.
No mercy, Coach.
That's right.
No mercy.
But thank you all. Thank you so much for all you do. All the people that have been a part of it. Thank you.
Wait a minute, before you leave, gentlemen, this is the varsity baseball hat from 2000. And it commemorates Kevin Callion, who was a great baseball player. And we lost too soon. So, thank you for what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, Coach. Okay. You're excused.
We have an extra seat.
All right. All right, Madam Clerk, next item of business.
All right, under public hearings and first reading of ordinances, you have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 10-2023, which ordinance provides for a budget and appropriations for municipal purposes for the fiscal year which began July 1st, 2023, by adopting a budget and adopting appropriations by amending said appropriations, and a public hearing is required.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion. Second.
All right. Is there anyone here wishing to address council on this item during the public hearing on this amendment of the budget ordinance? Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. So we are back on the motion to approve. Mr. Heeman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to walk through, if I can, some minor cleanup that's in this proposed budget from the edition that you saw on the 21st. And unless somebody wants me to go through all of the slides again, which I would be happy to do, And I'm shocked that the
No,
baseball team
This is
didn't
still the
stay for that.
2024
No,
Oh.
this is,
budget,
this is the 2024.
Okay.
the amendment.
Okay. She was pulling it up for me, so you go ahead.
All right, Janice.
Okay. The Oak Ridge schools have requested an amendment to the 2004 budget, and the reason for the changes is they got anticipated grant and other revenue sources that they did not know at the time that the budget was developed. We also amended a couple of other sections of the budget. One is to change the amount of the Emergency Communication District Fund amount for 2024 to match what you'll have in your upcoming meeting from after this meeting, and the in section 5 basically to update it for items that you had previously approved where you transferred money from one fund to the other for specific purposes. And we also did a transfer of the $1,764,096 to move money from the Capital Projects Fund to the Waterworks Fund, and that's due to the changes in how the ARPA funds are going to be spent. And the money had historically been in the Capital Projects Fund, so we needed to get to the fund that it was going to be expending the money.
All right, so the total amendment is to be increased by $3,299,769. Is that correct?
That would be the schools portion.
The schools portion, okay.
Yes.
All right. Additional questions for Ms. McGinnis or staff? Seeing none, we are on the board. Motion is to approve. Ayes 6, no nays. And the budget amendment for the previous year is approved as presented and documented in the materials. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to provide revenue for municipal purposes for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 by imposing a tax on all property within the city, fixing the rate of the tax, adopting a budget, and adopting appropriations, and a public hearing is required.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Now, Mr. Teeman.
All right, I was so excited about this budget. Want to walk through some minor cleanup, and it also relates to, you know, some of the things that you've heard here in the 24 cleanup. These are the same slides that were shown previously. You'll see some changes in red in these slides. There were some things related to, for instance, the fact that the boiler, we found out at Finance Committee, came in under budget, the school boiler at the middle school. We had some adjustments to depreciation and a number of little changes. In essence, I want to really roll through these kind of quick since you've seen them before, and we'll stop anywhere you want me to stop and take questions. And also just want to say that the changes will be shown in here in red, so you'll visibly see what those changes are in the budget. And I've gone through kind of what our focus is. We did have some finance staff revisions. That's what we're here to talk about today. Really a lot of minor cleanup things. I will go back to this. There were 2 positions that we talked about that I failed to get on there, so it was actually, they're in the budget. It was 12 positions, and I think one of those was the attorney's position, and there was another one that we just didn't get on. It was on the list, but it's actually 12 full-time positions, and I won't go through all those. And getting to the very end here, I will tell you while I'm on this slide that we've got, we had, I believe it was 8 people that responded to the comprehensive plan request, which was fantastic. We've also made an adjustment there. That's why I wanted to stop here, because those numbers came in above where we expected them. So we went ahead and made that change in this budget. I think that number got bumped up to 250,000, but the numbers were widely more than we expected on that. I'm going to jump to the very last of this and just show you kind of what those final changes were. We talked about the electric fund. There were some minor changes in that related to depreciation. You can see here, and Janice can fill you in a little bit on some of this, but the general government change, you can see proposed went from 3,271 to 3,364, 349. Fire went up just a little bit. Economic development went up a little bit, and you can see the total there is 37,604, 480 as opposed to 37,274, 580. This does not change the tax rate. Tax rate remains the same, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything else to these. Janice? Okay. The debt fund transfers, you can see a little bit of change there. We had proposed that stay the same, and it actually got bumped down to 3.7 million. And I want to explain this because this is a weird slide. So on the last slide presentation, some of the general fund numbers were correct in what you received in your budget, but not correct on the screen, and that was my fault. So the numbers that you see that are above these are the correct numbers that were in your budget booklet. And if you look over to the right-hand side, those are the numbers where we have changes that are proposed. So the general fund, it was proposed in the booklet last time at 63, 583, 543, and now it's proposed at 63, 413, 443. Waterworks fund, you can see, is now proposed at 25, 976, 560. So that went up a little bit. And the electric fund is proposed at 61, 099, 033. So just to show you how those numbers changed, and that's really that's a little bit of everything. As I mentioned, that's depreciation. We had the lower boiler cost in there. We had just a number of small changes. If you want to kind of run through some of those,
Sure.
Janice.
We, as Ms. Manager said, that we did make some changes to the fund. We, when we kind of went through it initially, you know, we had specific things that we looked at, utilities and, you know, equipment transfers, funding, and those type of things. But we also had missed some things, as he indicated. So we added $150,000 to each, to information services and finance each, and that's to transfer funding to equipment rental for maintenance and of software and computer equipment that resides in the equipment rental fund. So that will take us through kind of the close of the Kayenta project, and also that fund, you know, like I said, it does have software, not just in computer equipment, the servers, in addition to the, you know, the vehicles which you typically associate with being in that fund. I think as the manager had indicated, the firefighting is going to be changing to contracted services for their vehicles, their large vehicles. And we moved $125,000 from where we do our in-house labor, and then added another $75,000, and you'll see a new line item called contractual vehicle maintenance.
And that was discussed at the last finance committee meeting, just so you all know in detail.
And as he's indicated, we put $250,000 in for the comprehensive plan. And in capital projects, you'll see some changes where we kind of restructure, look at some other stuff with the fund. When the boiler went from $900,000 to $500,000, so that amount in that project went down by $500,000. We also decreased the operating transfer from the general fund to the capital projects fund for $500,000. But while we were in the fund and making changes, we kind of looked at the interest on investments, and I think the number was like $700-something last year. In interest earnings, we had a budgeted $350 for this year, and next year, we took the opportunity to go ahead and up that amount to what we kind of expect to receive in that fund. So, the other changes, as he's indicated, we kind of looked at the electric and the waterworks funds. We did some depreciation changes and kind of reviewed the tax equivalents, which we actually changed some of the 24 numbers. In 25, because of the appraisal ratio, that amount will probably not go up in next year. So, and it could even go down a little bit. And we, I think that's pretty much it.
Any other comments, Mr. Tim?
No, sir. I will say, as soon as this budget gets adopted, we will have a strategic plan in front of you that outlines what we will achieve through this budget, and we will keep on track with that. And I think there's a lot of progressive and good things in this budget, and I look forward to working on it.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Just one comment, if I will.
Ms. Smith. Yes.
Yeah. When people look at these charts, one of the things that I know often comes up, look at the difference between the general fund total on one slide here, which showed 37 million and change for next year, and then another slide we see 61 million and change, and 63 million and change, and the difference is due to transfers to other funds that are included in that, such as the transfer to the schools, which is the single biggest one. But I think it's useful to keep in mind that there are reasons for those differences.
Other comments, Mr. Gleason? Okay. Other comments or questions? Motion is to approve on first reading. We will have second reading, and again, comments next week. So unless there's anything else, or we're on the board.
No, I have some comments on the budget per se.
Okay.
That was just on the presentation.
Okay,
so,
go ahead.
Couple things. One item in the package on the water fund. There's an indication that we have a plan now for 1% replacement, 1% per year replacement of the piping in the distribution system. And looking at the age of our system, I'm wondering whether that's truly a sufficiently ambitious number, whether that's going to be enough, or whether we need to expect to have to program more in the future.
I think what we're going to end up doing is we're continuing to refine the capital project, doing the same thing in electric. We've got a really detailed plan behind that, and we could go over that at some point. But we'll need to reevaluate that this year with the rate study. We'll see what can we do, and it'll be a balancing act. Is that enough replacement? And we also want to look at what are the large projects that we can achieve with that over a period of years. We're also trying to sync those up with our street replacement. Obviously, you go down some of our streets, that we're going to have to do both of those. So that's the balancing act that we're in right now. So it's hard to say if that 1% is going to be where that needs to stay, but I know Patrick is working on that, and we'll continue to work on it as we will with the paving schedule.
So that's a strategic goal that's being reevaluated.
Yeah.
And another set of questions really has to do with the street paving program, and I think some of this is going to be strategy that you want to present later on.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I find puzzling is why we call it the State Street Aid Fund when some of it's local funding. I have a feeling there's some legal reason for that. But in that fund, I note that it appears that there's been significant underspend recently in work such as paving, striping, sidewalks, and curb and gutter. And some of that's been projects that were delayed. But I'm hoping that we can move faster on some of that work, things like striping or something that we get comments on, and it's safety related. It's very important. So I hope that we're just delayed for a little while now, and that there'll be a push to actually get that work done, since we've been budgeting for stuff that hasn't happened. And a question related to that, in the presentation, there's reference to the State Route 95 project. And I think that refers to the work that's planned for Oak Ridge Turnpike, the sidewalks and the CMAQ work, not something else. 'Cause the State Route 95 typically is a state project, and that was a bit confusing. Okay. And I do look forward to some discussion of where we're going on the streets related to pavement condition work versus work like just wholesale replacing pavement on streets that no longer resemble streets. So I hope we'll be discussing that soon. And while I still have your ear, I have one item in the budget that I'd like to consider amending. And that is on the grants fund, which is page 63 on the version of the budget passed out this evening. Top of the page, there's a budget for social services, and it shows a reduction of $69,000 versus what we had last year. And that is, it's labeled ADFAC, which I don't think is quite accurate, because that's simply the agency that's doing the work for us. The function that we paid for was, that we were paying them for is utility bill assistance and so forth. But I feel like it's important for us to maintain a level of effort on that work, because when we talk about affordable housing is something we need to encourage, and affordable utilities is something that's kind of in our bailiwick. We can't, I'd love to be able to give people a reduced rate if they can show that they have difficulty affording electric and water and sewer, but we're not allowed to do that by the state. So I feel like it's very important that we provide this utility bill assistance to our residents who need low-income assistance. So I would like to restore that budget to the $255,145 that was in the budget for 2024. That's a motion that we add that to that particular line.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dodson's going to have to, on this particular issue, he's going to have to recuse. So, yeah. Mr. Hensley.
Yeah, I'm looking, Ellen, on page 63, like you talked about. I don't see where is the number you're talking about? I see the 255,145, but you're saying you don't like the reduction for 2025? Yeah, 255,145 in 2020.
For 2024.
Right.
The proposed amount for 2025 is $185,725.
Yeah, I see that. That's what
There's a
that's the
reduction of
issue.
$69,000.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify what I'm looking at. Okay.
Other questions about the pending motion? Seeing none, the motion is to restore this particular budget item under social services to the level of the 2024 fiscal year budget. Is that?
Yes, yes. And the specific number is 255,345. Or 255,1545. It's too far away from it.
I've seconded.
It's been seconded.
Yeah, it's been seconded. Any other questions? Seeing none, the motion is to approve the amendment. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? There are none. So, all right, Ms. Smith, you still have the floor. Anything else? Okay. Hang on just a minute, Jim. So, any other questions on the social services budget? Seeing none. All right, Mr. Dodson, you're back.
Mayor, we still have the public hearing open, so somebody will need to make a motion to close it if no one wants to speak.
All right, moved and seconded. Well, before we do that, because I made that error. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council during the public hearing? Seeing none, we now have a motion to close. All those in favor, say by aye. Aye. There are none opposed, so we are back on the motion as amended. Now, are there other questions or comments for staff? We're not in a rush, so anybody? We're good? All right. The motion is to approve the ordinance as amended on first reading, and again, final reading will be next week. So we're on the board. Let the record reflect that Mr. Dotson is recusing on this particular item. Yeah, you did vote. Yes, you can vote. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. So we're now back on the budget as amended, the budget ordinance as amended. Six ayes, no nays, and it is adopted on first reading as amended. All right. The next item is announcements or scheduling. Anything to be brought up on that topic? Mr.
Last night I attended the Scarborough 85 committee, and they would still like to be on the work session agenda for this month. Thank you.
Sure. Any other announcements or scheduling issues? Seeing none, we move into similar council requests for new business items or future briefings. Is there anything? All right, seeing none, I need a motion to adjourn this particular meeting. Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, we will now go.
So we're in the Emergency Communications District Board meeting agenda, and we have two resolutions on that agenda. The first one is a resolution authorizing the retroactive adoption of the attached Oak Ridge, Tennessee Emergency Communication District's fiscal amended 2024 budget. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to do like four things. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson. Councilmember Gleason.
Here.
Mayor Gooch. Here. Councilmember Hammond. Councilmember Hensley.
Here.
Councilmember Hope. Here. Councilmember Smith. Here. Now we are on, sorry, my papers. We are on the resolution, a resolution authorizing the retroactive adoption of the attached Oak Ridge, Tennessee Emergency Communication District's fiscal amended 2024 budget.
Second.
Yes, so this is at the request direction of the comptroller. They would like the emergency communications district's budgets to be adopted.
Just a comment. I can't get anything to light up. The thing we're doing tonight is similar to what we did with the schools. We have to adjust the budget line by line so that it matches what we actually spend. It does not exceed what was in the budget, or so the expenditures don't exceed the budget. So, and we'll have to do that probably every year with this emergency communications district. So.
I lost the meeting, so can we try by voice? Can we do voice vote? Okay. And that TV just went off too. Yeah, we can call the roll. It's just 2 items. It just, I opened it and then closed it by mistake. Sorry. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson. Aye. Mayor Gooch. Aye. Councilmember Gleason.
Aye.
Councilmember Hensley.
Aye.
Councilmember Hope.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith. Okay. 6, no nays. Yeah. Okay, the next resolution is a resolution authorizing the adoption of the attached Oak Ridge, Tennessee Emergency Communication District's fiscal 2025 budget. Roll call. Roll call. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson. Aye. Councilmember Gleason.
Aye.
Mayor Gooch. Councilmember Hensley.
Aye.
Councilmember Hope.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith. 6 ayes, no nays.
Yes, so you do not have to do this again at your January 10th. It was just required that the board meet as the 911 board and pass it by resolution. And since City Council and 911 board are identical, we did that at today's meeting. So just the one time.
Are there any other items related to this action?
So my whole thing went off. And the TVs went off. What? Really? Was it recorded on the audio? It's okay. As the emergency